Welcome to another episode of The Unconditioned Life with me, Linda Downey. If you're ready to leave the stress and the pain of your past so that you can create a joyful and vibrant life for your future, then you are in the right place. Subscribe, follow, and enjoy the episode. Hello. How are you on this Wednesday? This Wednesday that started out to be a pretty mild, nice morning, and now I was just outside with my dogs and it's kind of sleety and cold, so we're going through it these days, aren't we? But I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining in today. This is an episode of The Unconditioned Life. We're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to talk about the nervous system, how that relates to health. So I appreciate you joining in wherever it is that you are. This is streaming on YouTube. It's streaming in multiple places on social media. So if you're watching today live, please say hello, or if you watch the replay later, it always makes me happy. And I do go back and check the comments. And if I can read your comments, I'll respond as we're chatting. If I don't see them, because not all the places is, hey, Carol. Yeah, oh, it's raining in Chicago. So Carol says, hi, it's raining in Chicago. It started out to be a nice morning. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I usually have my turquoise mug, but I grabbed this mug because I wanted you all to see it. Can you see that? It says, love more, worry less. I thought, oh, that's an appropriate mug for today's conversation, worry less, right? So we're going to talk about anxiety and the nervous system today. So thank you for joining in. My name is Linda Downey, and hey, Michelle. Oh, Michelle, good. I just responded to you in Messenger. So who I am is I'm a functional health practitioner and a transformation coach. I've been in transformational coaching since the 1990s, and I've been in health and wellness even longer than that, probably for 37 years now. And I've really combined both of those, the health part because of my own health issues in my family, autoimmune disease, was very, very important to me. And I was very passionate about health and wellness. And now what's so amazing is that we're really seeing in our current scientific research the connection between how we think and live our life and our health. I think for many, many years, the way that our culture anyway looks at the body is it's kind of separate from how we think and feel. And so we've just addressed our physical body. And if you get an illness, then you're you and you got an illness. But really, whatever illness you have is an expression in your physical body of how your nervous system is working and how your thoughts and feelings are predominantly leading your life. And then it shows up in your physical body. So if that's a new thought for you, if that's like, wow, I never heard that before, chew on it and let me know what you think. Does it resonate? Does it seem weird? If it's not a new thought and you've been hearing that around and about, or maybe it's the perspective that you do really choose to live your life by, I would love to know that too. So it is the way. There's a lot of research. I think Southeastern Medical Center has identified and works with cellular memories. Those are memories that are stuck in our bodies at a cellular level. A lot of energy work. And the energy really is determined by our nervous system. So let's dive into exactly the topic that I said we would go into today, which is anxiety and the nervous system. So before we do that, I just want to give you an overview of your nervous system, because if you understand how it works pretty well, this will make a lot more sense to you. So think of your nervous system as like the chief operating officer of a company, right? Or a building. Let's say your company, your job, corporate job in a building, and the COO is in charge of how the company runs. And I'm also going to say facilities, how the building runs, right? The plumbing, the lights. So the facilities and how the company runs, what decisions are being made. Are we going to put our money over here in this campaign? Or are we going to put our money here? So the COO, the chief operating officer, would make all of those decisions. In your physical body, the nervous system makes all those decisions. So the nervous system decides where your resources are going to go, what's going to get turned on, what's going to get shut off, what needs to take priority, like that. Okay. The way that it's designed to work, the way that we are really meant to work, is actually magnificent. God knew what he was doing, he didn't mess it up. We have a very magnificent and a very capable design. When I say capable, I mean capable of dealing with life's challenges. And I also mean capable of healing what we come up against in our world. So bacteria, viruses, toxins, we are capable of handling those if the system is working the way it's meant to work. If it's not, then all kinds of problems show up. And again, that's a nervous system thing. And when our nervous system is triggered to a place that doesn't serve us, that's when we're in anxiety, when we're feeling anxiety and worry all the time. So you have this operating system, and there's two branches, okay? So the COO is the nervous system. He's going to have two managers working for him. Let's say I'm going to use two different, John and Robert. So I don't say John and Jim and then mess it up. Okay, John and Robert. John is in charge of running everything when things are going good. So when there's plenty of business flowing in, there's plenty of finances and resources, the building has all been checked and cleared and everything's up to date and good, John's in charge. When something happens, like out in the environment, there's a storm and now the building's been hit, or something happens in marketing and we need to put a whole bunch of money somewhere else, that a campaign didn't go well, whatever it is. Now Robert's in charge. And so all the resources go to Robert. And Robert's job is, let me handle this dilemma. Let me handle this problem. And so what Robert does is takes away resources that he thinks are not important at the time. The bigger importance is to fix the hole in the roof from the hurricane, or the bigger importance is to stop the money going out in a campaign that didn't work, like that, right? In your body, you have John's branch would be the parasympathetic branch of your nervous system. That's the branch that works when things are good. That's the branch that governs digesting your food and all of the parts of your digestive system. Your liver is part of your digestive system. It detoxes out and pulls stuff out of your body and then sends it to be excreted out through digestion and elimination, right? Your endocrine system, those are your hormones. So reproducing, having healthy babies, also having balanced hormones, which helps our metabolism, having headaches, everything in our body, right? The hormonal system. So John is in charge of that. The parasympathetic part of the nervous system is in charge of that. And when everything's running the way it's meant to, everybody gets what they need. So I just named a couple of the systems, but the immune system, that's a critical one. The immune system. And what happens is all of the cells in the system are open and receiving light. This is now going back to energy, which I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation. We are beings of energy. We are beings of light. That's why we cannot live on a planet that doesn't have a sun. The sun gives our physical bodies, our cells, light information, and the cells are open and receiving it. And when they receive the light information, they will do what they need to do. They will function. Your immune system will function. Your cells will get rid of their waste products, right? That's what they're meant to do. Open and full of light. This is important. Okay. I'm not just mentioning it for whatever. It's actually important, and you'll see why. So, and this is where my training as a functional health practitioner, like when I really went back to, I was diagnosed with 4 autoimmune conditions, 4, okay, not 1, 4, starting in my 20s. I don't have any symptoms of any autoimmune conditions now. So as I started to learn this was critical about how the cells need to be open, how they need to be able to receive light to do their job, and how the nervous system, when it's in rest mode, is able to govern your body in that way. Now, when we go into Robert's side of the show, when Robert's running everything based on an emergency or a calamity, that part of your nervous system is the sympathetic nervous system. That's when your brain says, "Oh my goodness, there's a problem. We have a major problem. We need to address it now. It is the most important thing." So now the parasympathetic branch shuts down, the sympathetic branch turns on. And when that turns on, all of those other systems that were receiving the resources of the company don't get their resources anymore. There's no more budget in all the different departments. There's no resources. So digestion slows down, stops, gets inhibited. We're not digesting our food well, which shows up as constipation, bloating, gas, out of balance bacteria. We're not absorbing our nutrients out of the food. So now we have nutrient deficiencies and fatigue and all those other things. The endocrine system gets disrupted. When we're producing cortisol, when Robert takes over, when the sympathetic nervous branch kicks in, cortisol goes up. And when cortisol goes up, we need cortisol. It's an important hormone in the body in the appropriate amounts at the appropriate time. But when it kicks up, it inhibits thyroid hormone. It actually disrupts the metabolic pathway of thyroid hormone. It actually disrupts the liver. It disrupts a lot of different things because the body says, this is what we're in emergency. We're running from a tiger, fight or flight. We need to handle this now. So cortisol disrupts all of that. That cell open to the light, receiving information from the sun in order to do its job, closes. So the cell, it's called cell danger response. It's a biological response, CDR, cell danger response. It's been recognized for many years. A cellular biologist in California, I think, really is the one who identified it. The mitochondria, which is where your powerhouse is in your cells, actually I picture like a submarine, like going for a dive, like we're diving and everything batten the hatches, like everything seals up, closes, and they go down for a dive. That's what I picture. Like the cells just close off to the light. And when that goes on for a long enough period of time, when the systems are not getting their resources, the immune system says, okay, I'm not going to fight this virus and this bacteria right now because you need resources to handle this hole in the roof or whatever it is you're dealing with, to handle the fight or flight response that you're in. So the immune system stops working. And now things that enter our body or that we're exposed to have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to multiply. They have an opportunity to take over. Whether it's toxins that are going into our brain, contributing to neurological diseases, right? If it's cancer cells, the way that God designed our immune system, if we are in the parasympathetic nervous system, if we are in John's side of the equation, most of the time, the body is repairing and handling and finding those toxins and clearing out those cancer cells. Oh, here's a real problem. Let me go handle that. And then we go back. That's how we're meant to work. When we stay in chronic anxiety, there's a couple of reasons for that. But when we stay there, we cannot heal. So let me go into the reasons why that is. Actually, before I do that, the last thing I want to say about the cells and the light is when we go in for medical tests, whether it's an MRI or a CAT scan or a PET scan, what they see on those scans and in those tests are dark spots. That's not a coincidence. When they see something, an area, it's dark here. We need to take a look at this further. It's an absence of light. Because when the cells are open and receiving the light and doing their job with all the resources they need, there's light and there's an absence of disease. When we see dark spots, it's because those cells have stayed closed, have not been receiving the light, the resources that they need, have not been doing their job, and now things have built up. It might be cancer cells, it might be a non-malignant tumor, it might be something else, right? But what we see, if it's inflammation or if it's a buildup of cells, what's shown on the tests is a dark spot. And that's, again, not a coincidence. It's the absence of light. So when we stay in chronic anxiety, there's a couple of reasons why that is. The first thing is our brain is really designed to protect us. So it's looking for a problem. That's its role, right? Let me make sure I protect. If you had things very early in your life that showed up as problems, whether it was messaging from your parents, no, don't touch that. Nope, that's not safe. No, whatever. Or a lot of anger in your house, whatever it was, that your brain, your tiny little 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 4-year-old brain noticed and focused on, there's a problem that I need to protect myself from. It might be a problem like I need to protect myself from other people in the house. It might be just the messaging in the house that the world is not safe, whatever it is. But the brain starts to get that and starts to go down and develop neural pathways that keep seeing the problems. But now you see a problem where you shut down operation and you hand everything over to Robert and the sympathetic nervous system. You shut down the immune system and the digestive system when you get an email. That's not a life-threatening problem. You open your checkbook, you look in your bank account, everything shuts down, anxiety kicks up. So we are so trained into neural pathways that automatically see a problem when there really is no problem. It's certainly not life-threatening. Even if it was something like, let's just say something like finances, like you get a thing in the mail and you've been late on your mortgage and the bank is going to start foreclosure. Even that is not life-threatening because there's not a man at your door with a knife holding the notification. It's something you got in your email or in the mail. So there's time to deal with it. There's time to figure out a solution. But what we do, what our nervous system does is, oh my God, this is terrible, goes into panic mode. And when you're in panic mode, not only are you shutting everything off from the systems of your body, like the immune system and the digestive system, but you're also shutting off the parts of your brain that will figure out solutions, problem solving, the parts of your brain that are creative, the parts of your brain that communicate well. You completely go into reactive, we call it reptilian brain. You go into that part of the brain and there's no reason to because your life is not threatened. And if you could actually stay in the part of your nervous system with normal functioning, you could figure it out. And you have the 6 weeks until the bank is actually going to foreclose, or even the 10 days, but you could figure it out. You could come up with, what do I need to do here? What makes the most sense for me? What do I need to communicate? But you can't do that when you're in reaction. And we take everything. This is one of the biggest reasons why, as a culture, you look around, there's so much health issues. The Center for Disease Control, the CDC, says that 80% of all disease has a root cause of stress. Now, the people in the medical universities that are studying it actually say it's more like 95% of all disease, neurological, autoimmune, cancers, any chronic health issues. 95%, the main root cause is stress. And if you've heard the main root cause is inflammation, that's true. Stress causes inflammation because when the body recognizes there a problem, it sends out those soldiers to fight the problem. When you have a cut, you get inflamed, right? It gets red and swollen. That's what's happening in your body, in your blood vessels, in your tissues when you're staying chronically stressed. So, number one, we develop patterns of thinking when we're very, very young. And now those patterns are really set. So I have clients all the time who start working with me. A big reason that they start is anxiety. And they'll say, I've had anxiety all my life. I've had anxiety for at least 50 years. Sometimes I don't even know why I'm anxious. Like when I look at my life, it's actually not really a bad life. Like I'm okay financially, I've got a partner, whatever. And yet sometimes I wake up with a panic first thing in the morning. There may be things that they know are the problem. I definitely have worked with that too. And in my own life, if you know me, my daughter passed away. I've had the loss of a child. I've had infidelity in my marriage. That wasn't my infidelity. Um, so I've been the receiver of that. My daughter passed away after 15 years of medical catastrophic illness. So I have also lived in the moment of circumstances that would cause high levels of anxiety. It doesn't matter whether you can identify the thing or whether you don't really know why you're anxious. It's still a way of thinking and perceiving that makes all the difference. And we have to rewire that. We have to change those neurological pathways, which is the wonderful thing about the brain because it is plastic. I don't care. And I have some clients who are in their 70s and they'll tell you they changed the way they think, even though it was 70 years in the making. It doesn't matter. You can always change those. Hi, Victoria. Thanks for saying hi. You can always change your neural pathways. So that's the first thing. We have to change how you think. The second thing is we have to teach your body how to give John back the reins. Robert's been in charge. The sympathetic nervous system has been running the show. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Fight or flight automatically. And your body doesn't remember how to go back to calmness. That's something that needs to be also retrained. And there's a physiology to it. So the energy, if you remember, I mentioned energy when we first started, and I'm also now going to tie it back to the light in the cells. Light has a frequency, right? It's an energy frequency. We see light with our eyes. When the conditions are perfect, we see a rainbow, right? We can see the light of the rainbow in the spectrum. The conditions have to be right. So there's a ton of light that we don't see with our eyes, but the light spectrum is there. The energy spectrum is in our body. When the cells close down as a result of that fight or flight response, there's an energy frequency happening in the body that we need to shift. If you don't change that energetic frequency, you can't heal. You can't, because that energetic frequency is moving throughout the cells and it's keeping them in that cell danger response. The frequency to heal that is really the frequency that's opposite of that. And the opposite of fear is love. But when people are so trained in their mind to be worried about things, to have anger, to be seeing everything as a problem, it's difficult to get love into your body at a cellular level and to hold it for a long enough time to actually start to heal. That's why the changing of the thought patterns has to happen. Because if you don't do that 10 times a day, by the time you have your morning coffee, you've had how many thoughts that are already negative, that are already depleting, that are already putting you back into fight or flight. We have to rewire those so that you can hold a frequency of light and of love into your cells, keeping them open and allowing them to heal. That's the way your body works. So I see some people who are saying hello. Thank you so much. So Carol's here, Michelle's here, Victoria. There might be some other people in some of the other spots that I can't see. If that makes sense to you, let me know. If you have questions about that, let me know. But that is the work that needs to be done. And I came to this work out of a commitment to heal my body and to not have a fifth autoimmune disease diagnosed. and not only to not have a fifth one, but to actually live better than the survival and the coping that I was living with the other ones. I had ulcerative colitis. I had both kinds of thyroid autoimmunity, Graves' disease, and Hashimoto's. The ulcerative colitis, rosacea. I had Lyme disease, which is now being recognized by a lot of people as autoimmune. So that was my original commitment, was to help my physical body get back to the way I wanted to feel living in it. It's the only body I've got, right? I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be exhausted, all of those things. But as I pursued that journey, what I learned was the energetic and emotional component that, frankly, I'm just so thankful to have learned, because it's great to be in a healthy body, but it's not great to be angry. So even if you have enough energy to get up and go for a walk, but if you're still angry and the people that live in your household, you don't have conversations with them and your relationships don't work, it's kind of like still a really big problem in my book. So actually understanding my fight or flight and where I was working against myself and not giving myself and my physical body, but also my relationships and my joy, I wasn't giving them the ability to even be seen, let alone thrive, until I took all of the components. So that's why it's so important to really understand all of it. If you have anxiety and you don't know why, it's probably been a long held, it becomes a habit, like just an automatic neural pathway. It also becomes an automatic way of thinking that needs to be rewired. And if you have really big things that you just haven't been able to get over, a divorce, a loss, something that happened unexpectedly, that also can be a catalyst and a jumping off to like better results than you ever thought. But you have to understand how to see it that way. So yeah, Victoria, makes sense. Thank you. I need to reverse your auto. Yeah, you can, Victoria. Autoimmune, you maybe heard me talk about this before, but autoimmune is the immune system's inability to recognize the body that it's protecting, right? The immune system is meant to do what it does, and then it goes haywire. It goes haywire because our nervous system is haywire, and then the immune system's not getting the appropriate messages. But also from a spiritual level, when we have lived in that place, so dysregulated, so shut away from light and love and the truth of ourselves, being in anger, being in resentment, being in fear, that's not how God meant for us to live, that we also don't recognize ourselves. So the immune system doesn't recognize our body, and spiritually, we are not recognizing the truth of who we are. That's what's happening. So that's the work that we do. I've kind of revamped. I have my signature program, Return, Restore, Renew, and I've revamped it a bit. I've enhanced it a bit, and I'm opening up that newer revised version in March. And I'm going to have some, I think, pretty cool bonuses. Every year, once a year, I do something that just lights up my heart. Last year, I sent an email out. It was around in the springtime. And I said, I'm going to take 5 people and work with the first 5 people to respond to me and just pay whatever you want. That was last year's. So, and 5 people did, and that was wonderful. So, and they paid whatever they could. There was it could have been $10. I didn't care. I had COVID. I was recovering through my COVID, and I was laying in bed one day thinking, and the thought just came to me, just do that. People need help. So I did. And that was the thing for last year. This year, as I'm revamping that particular program, and I decided, what am I going to do this year? What feels good this year? So this year I am doing this new program it's called Return to You. It's just a little bit of a different name, Return to You. And it is, as I said, enhanced from the last program. But the way that I want to offer it is I want to offer 4 people who decide to enroll in that 1 year of spiritual healing with me beyond the end of that program. So that program is 12 weeks. For the first 4 people who say that they want to participate and do that, I'm going to continue to work with you for a year on healing the spiritual part of ourselves that contributes to us feeling the fear and the anger and staying in fight or flight. So that's the bonus that I feel good about this year offering. So if it feels good to you, if you feel like you're ready, and it's not a small program. There's some people on here who have done it, who can tell you it's intense. It's an intensive 12 weeks, and we work together twice a week. You know, they're recorded if you can't make it, but it's an intense program, and we go deep because that's what it takes to heal. But if you think you're ready and that's what you're looking to do for yourself, then just let me know and I'll give you the further details. But Return to You is my updated version. And the first 4 people who decide that they want to do it, it'll be starting in March, will get a bonus of a year of work together with me beyond the 12 weeks. Okay? All right. So I will see you on the next live. And thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is an episode of The Unconditioned Life, which is my podcast. And you can catch all of the previous episodes if you go anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's The Unconditioned Life. All right. I'll see you soon. Thanks.
Thank you for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, follow, or leave a kind review. If you are ready to truly leave an overwhelmed life of stress and struggle behind and live as God intended, whole, joyful, and connected, please reach out or go to lindadowneycoaching.com, my website, for more information. Give yourself some grace and kindness today and every day, and I hope to see you on the next episode of The Unconditioned Life.